The fight for Pounamu has been an enduring story for West Coast Māori. For 100 years, Ngāti Wairangi battled Kaitahu to retain hold of the stone. And then, after many battles, came Tūhuru. Tūhuru was a fierce Kāti Waiwai chief said to be 7 feet tall. It was he who led the final war party down the coast, in battles from Karamea to Makawhio, to take control of the precious Pounamu resource. After the final defeat of Ngāti Wairangi, Tūhuru and his people didn't return over the Alps to the east coast, but made new homes on Te Tai o Poutini. There they became known as Poutini Kaitahu, the people of the west coast.
This is Tūhuru here. So Tūhuru was the rangatira that kept the mana whenua and mana moana of the west coast for the Ngāti Waiwai people. And over here is his wife, Papakura. Hokitika is marketed as the jade capital of New Zealand. So there's always been that tourism trade since the 60s. But I very rarely sell po. I gift it to people. That's our taonga. We are the Poutini Ngaitahu. We are the stone people. So it's an honour to be able to koha something beautiful like that to people you meet along your life's journeys. When we're on the river, ones that have been taught to find pounamu, we'll just pick out the tiniest pieces. So yeah, this is a collection of tiny little wee pounamu that have all come off the Arahura riverbed. When the Arahura purchase deed was signed, we wanted to be able to own and manage the po. It was excluded from the Arahura purchase deed, so it was never sold. But the government still went ahead and sold greenstone and gold claims on it. People basically helped themselves to our taonga and our awa.
I guess when it comes to the ownership of this river, it was asked of our people by the Crown, what's your kōrero that joins you to this river? What's your kōrero that joins your people to the taonga, to the stone, to the pounamu here that lies in this river? And so the story of Poutini and Waitaki was recited by our old people. And then this river here was then returned back to the people from the mountains to the sea, with the pounamu intact.
Poutini Kaitahu never gave up the fight for the Arahura or the pounamu, and spent more than 100 years locked in battle with the Crown. When it was finally returned in 1976, ownership was vested in the Mawhera Incorporation. Later, in 1997, Mawhera also gained control of Arahura Pounamu. But while shares were given to the direct descendants of the 1860 owners, many whānau did not retain them. Today, it's a contentious issue that often pits whānau against whānau.
Hotly contested. You know, it's very, very hard to not have a debate. We always get out here as a whānau, as much as we can. We've always fished here, always setting the mullet net, chasing the kahawai when it runs, chasing the eels. The Mawhiri Corporation is based on share structure. The rule of thumb is if you're not a shareholder, then you have no entitlement to the river. You have no entitlement to the fishing of the river. You have no entitlement to the taking of pounamu. But then you also have those families that have eaten off it, have lived off it for multiple generations, whom aren't shareholders. So you try telling them that they can't go out there and catch a feed of whitebait. You try telling them that they can't go out there and look for pounamu. There's all these, some people call them hocus pocus things, like, you know, you don't find the pounamu, it finds you. I like to think of it as, it's like love, I think. You know, sort of straight away, if it's meant to be or if it's not meant to be. And when it comes to searching for the pounamu, you know, some people find it straight away and some people walk the journey their whole lives and never truly understand what the pounamu's about. And so that's sort of a bit of a division amongst our people, obviously, because there's a lot of money at stake for some of those shareholders. But a money value over a blood value, they're worlds apart. We say it's a birthright, it's a blood right to be able to go onto our river. It was something that our tupuna fought for when Tūhuru come over here and won the final conquest. There's a big, enormous conversation to be had around the direction, trying to find a little bit of common ground, when at the end of the day, everybody stands up and says the same thing. Ko arahura te aua, ko te pounamu te tauka, ka te wāwai te hapu pautini kei tahu te iwi. And just that in itself, shareholder or not, it's your right to be able to go out there onto the river and live off it, sustain yourself physically and mentally and emotionally.
With the return of the Arahura River and the precious pounamu resource, the focus here on Te Taiao Poutini has changed to growth. The fight to reclaim some of the other important taonga that were almost lost to West Coast Māori.
This is the kōrere. So I can make dyes with this. It comes out of brown. But if I was to collect enough, when the flower, the puawai, was still black, I can get it like a really, really intense, deep, dark brown. Here on Te Taiao Poutini, like the looks we receive, the looks I receive. But I hold my head up high. I look like my tupuna. Yeah, a few years ago, my dad had some renovations done and the old open fireplace was pulled out and a wood burner put in, and Kātini managed to rescue some of the old mantelpiece for the stand of my new baby. My nameless new baby. Yeah. So my first introduction to raranga was when I was probably around about 6 or 7 years old, from my tawa. So we would just weave little baskets to put flowers in. That planted the seed. This is all my uri. This is all my tamariki and my mokopuna. Here on the coast, the only exposure I had to te ao Māori was from my tawa, growing up. So it's been a struggle and a fight to maintain rangatiratanga. This is the pepe, the reto. So who would these be? Mum. Mum, yeah. Dad. Yep. And then who would these ones be? Grandparents? Yeah. Yeah. 21 years ago. Moved out to Taupo. And I got involved with a rōpū of kairaranga who used to gather at different marae. And the kaupapa was to go to all the tūwharetoa marae, build up competent weavers to be able to repair all the whāreke. Come and have a look, show me.
There.
Yep, okay, so who can I take? Not them ones. Yep.
Only
That one. That one and this one?
Yep.
Yep, okay. I had to leave the coast to find and learn more about who I am and where I come from before coming back home and ensuring that my tamariki and my mokopuna know who they are and where they're from. So today, re-indigenisation and reclamation is really important to me.
As the connection to Te Ao Māori continues to grow here on the West Coast, the community is growing too and embracing a Māori way of connecting with each other.
I think the idea of a space that you don't have to pay anything, you can just be, you as Māori are welcome, is a weird concept for people. And so it took a little while for people to come in the door. I spent 2 months just sitting in this empty building on my own. My work really kindly let me work from home in that space a couple of days a week so I could open the doors. And I pretty much sat there on my own for like 2 months going, what were you thinking? What a waste of money. Part of what we're doing at Whare Manaaki is, although it's not only mana whenua-led, it was initiated by mana whenua, by me and my whānau who want to manaaki the wider community. We whakapapa Ngāti Waewae. In lots of ways, we're just an extension of the manaaki of mana whenua. We're not trying to be a business, we're trying to be a whānau in a community. So Kai has become a really big part of this kaupapa because the least we can do is feed people. The very least we can do is offer someone a cup of tea and a sandwich. And you know, before we had access to some of the resources we have now, like literally we would give you the half a bag of sugar out of our pantry if that's what you needed. Like that's just manaakitanga. As Māori, we know that. If you need something and I have this much of a bottle, I'll give it to you and I'll figure out another way. Did you start with a couple of deep breaths? I needed that. Kia ora. So choice is the kaupapa of today. I imagine that you would have got that from the board and the quotes. A lot of what we do is a risk because we just start something with no money. And our tupuna work in amazing ways. We just kind of go, we're here and we're going to do it. We're going to grow a garden because it's important, even if we've got no money. And literally 2 days later, we get a phone call from a previous funder who goes, hey, we've got some excess money. Is it useful for you? Just a reminder, you know, that all of these things that we're talking about, they're all choices and actions that you're taking that are helping you to create your own confidence and the life that you want for yourself. As Māori, we're used to being under-resourced, and we go, cool, you know, we've got a building, we've got us, let's just do it. I spend a lot of my time freaking out that I'm not going to be able to pay myself or my staff in a couple of months because we're just going to start this thing. And because we are whānau Māori, they are us, we'll take that risk. And it might mean that we have to shut our doors next week because we can't afford to do it anymore. But that's okay because we realise that those final outcomes aren't the main thing. The benefit for whānau, that immediate response, whatever we've learned along the way or the relationships we've built, that has to be enough.
Yeah, so this is all native regrowth. This is only about 60 years old, these forests out through here. It's all been milled, you know, most of the coast has until you get further south, like the only virgin ngāhere that's pretty much left, you know, in Fiordland. The native does regenerate eventually. It just takes a long time.
Ngāti Waewae history is etched into every river, mountain and lake in this rohe. Each place name tells a story that provides a window into the lives of those who came before.
I only ever knew this place as Lake Canary. and I actually thought the lake was named after, you know, canary birds. When I was 10 years old, there was a brand new lodge built out here for school camps. And I was so excited because I was going on my first school camp. And I came out to the lodge, and here's this huge big sign in front of it that doesn't say canary. So, kaniere means to cut and carry. Here at Roto Kaniere lives Whatipu. Pautini is the Māori of Pounamu. Whatipu is the Māori of the sandstone. So our people would cut up our taonga Pounamu into manageable sized pieces here on the banks of the Roto. And then the carry was, we walked it over Ka Tiritiri o Te Moana, or the Southern Alps, where it was traded with northern tribes via waka. So that was the beginning of wanting to learn about our local Māori place names.
Eri. Tēnei wāhi haramai ai o mātou pāpa, o mātou taua, paua. Tēnei te wāhi o ngā wāhi te kohi. A pai atu e nei, tēnei wāhi te New World. Pai tau, te waha mai wa tātou tamariki a mātou mokopuna. Engari, tēnei te wāhi haramai ai mātou, te wā tamariki ana. Haramai me o mātou pāpa. He wāhi hoki a tāhua ngā Pounamu o Roto. Roto i tēnei wāhi. Āhua ua te kimi, te kohi Pounamu konei.
Language loss is a scar that many Māori communities wore in the post-colonisation landscape. But while the revitalisation of te reo Māori around the rest of Aotearoa is now decades old, here on Te Tai o Pautini, the wave was slower to hit.
I timata hia tētahi o ngā kaupapa te ātārangi ki konei. I harere mai ngā kaiako i Rotorua. Hara mai rātou, whakatō tēnā o ngā kākano, wānga i a mātou. Mutu, i pātai atu au, ka hana nei. Te whakautu mai, a te rapea me whakaro te rua, me hunuku mai koe ki roto o te aroa. And then that's when I ended up making my journey up there and got stuck into te reo Māori. Lucky enough to find a beautiful woman up there who's given me 6 beautiful children.
Ki tainga mai ki konei, rua noho. E mōhio te anei a hau, ko tahi noa te tangata e kōrero Māori ana ki konei, ko te rua. And I ako ia ki Rotorua. Kore te rā āhuatanga ki konei. Here we go. Karakia tīmata. He honore, he kororia, ki te atua, he maunga rongo, ki te whenua, he whakaro pai. Kua āhua 5 tau e whakāko ana i te reo ki roto o te Tai o Pautini. Toru. Te kau mā whitu. Ka pai, so i tīmata ki ngā tau kua pahure, engari kāre i tino rahi ngā tangata e ngā kaunuitia ana te reo Māori i taua wā. Karai, kura mai. He. He. Nā. Nā. Te. Te. Ka mahi maua ko te rua ki Hokitika, Mawhera, ki Kawatiri, e tahi wā ka haere atu ki Reefton. E kua tino piki te reo ki konei. Pia toru paihene te, engari, kua piki te reo. En koera te mea. He hikoi ki te taone me te rangona I te reo e kawetia nei ana.
There's an unstoppable drive towards Māori reclamation on Te Tai o Potini, a sense that there are many leaders who aren't waiting in the background anymore.
I went to this hui in Queenstown a while ago, and it was a Māori hui. In a room full of 40, mostly Māori, I was the only one wearing a kauai, and it was the first time I've ever felt kind of out of place. And I realised it's because every day I get to be in this whare with like 5 other women who wear them. I think it's interesting that we've got a space where a number of us congregate and it becomes really obvious and evident. Part of me wonders if women who have been on the journey of self-acceptance and connecting, which has led them to moko kauai, just means that they are wahine who are prepared to stand out the front and lead because they've done that processing of who am I and am I good enough. So we spread them out and we can see who gets the most pairs. Andrew will go first because he's the littlest, so 2. Wow, good job. Good work, Em. I only got mine a year ago. Me and Mum, we got our moko through a moko papa that we did here. There were 5 wahine who got it done, and for us that was about just enabling that opportunity in the community. We were so excited, and the whare was filled. I think there were 12 of us wearing moko kauai that day. Nice, Edie. All of our kids think it's so normal. Like my 9-year-old talks about her naked chin. Good work, Anne. Tawa's turn. Our girls, they were doing makeup and stuff for a birthday party they were going to. But they didn't just want the makeup and they didn't want the face painted, they wanted moko kauai, because that's getting dressed up and, you know, looking beautiful. How amazing that that's their idea of beauty.
Arahura was hosting the iwi Leaders Forum. So we had a big wero for that and we needed to dress them. So we didn't have any kākahu. We created kākahu for them and we made maro, beautiful pare, adornments for the hair. They look like they come out of the ngahere. And we had furs and leather, a bit like Deadlands meets Te Tai o Potini.
Māori on the West Coast suffered through generations of cultural deprivation. But just as each muka of the harakeke makes the kete strong, each person helping to build and pass on mātauranga Māori are taking Potini kaitahu from strength to strength.
Right, try not to go overboard wetting the actual kete, just your working whenua.
Cool.
That's looking really good. Here on Te Tai o Potini, we don't have many weavers, we don't have many kairaranga.
I might need to tighten up that row.
Nah.
Sweet.
So we're just going to go straight in there. 7, 8 years I've been running wānanga in the community. Start your whiri from that end, come to here, stop, and then start whiri from that end, go to there, stop, and then you can create a handle. It's a taonga tukuiho, and it's not mine. I believe it's been handed down to me to pass on, and it's also a way to maintain our taonga. We had our wānanga in December, and that was an introduction to whare pora. So we started off with tekanga, kawa, whakapapa o te harakeke. Took them to a pū harakeke and taught them how to harvest correctly, sustainably, and following tekanga. I mean, if we don't uphold them, what are our future generations going to be learning? So I hope that by me continuously putting myself out there and teaching our whānau and hapori, that we will have a good pool of kairaranga here on Te Tai o Potini. So I plan on spending half of tomorrow just weaving. Everything's all a bit of a muddle and life is just going crazy, the world's crazy, sit down and raranga, and then it just makes you toe. Yeah. It is time-consuming. So one day, when I grow up, I want to be able to just sit at home and viraranga. Day in, day out. And one day my little protege is going to appear and go, yes, I'm ready to learn to raranga. They better not wait until I'm old and bloody crippled.